What's good, everybody? What's good? All right. We nice and connected here? Yes, we are. Nice and connected. Good. What's good, everybody? All right. We're going to officially start this up in a hot second here. We only got a little bit of pre-show. Yackadie, Yack. I see we're still waiting for Facebook and Twitter to connect, so that's all good. All right. So heads up, in case you're kind of wondering what's going on right now. So there was a poll I actually had put up on YouTube. It was actually an exclusive poll. Shout out to those of you that stay listening to the show on demand and on the downloads audio wise. But there's a poll that I had put up. I want to say it was Thursday. And I had mentioned the idea of doing a Saturday night show, but I wasn't quite sure what time we were going to come on. We definitely were going to go over the Survivor Series card, look at the predictions and everything. But at that time, I don't even think the WWE releases came about when we were getting ready to plug it. But then the next thing you know, all that had went down. So it was, okay, what time Saturday night? So I gave you guys three options. I gave you guys 8 p.m. tonight, 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. and pretty much over 86% of you guys had said, yo, hook us up, 8 p.m. So that's exactly what we're doing now. I'm a couple of minutes late. I apologize to our live audience that's going to be trickling in, checking out the stream and everything. Had a little bit of a traffic delay, but I mean, pretty much that's why we're here right now tonight. So we got a nice loaded up show. And depending on the turnout that we have tonight for a Saturday night here, we may go ahead, open up the phone lines so that you guys can sound off on any other stuff that we're going to be covering here on the show and all. And yeah, so nice, good laid back show. Hope your weekend is going pretty good so far. For those of you that are currently traveling to your final destination for the Thanksgiving holiday, I hope you get there in one piece. Look, man, it's been pretty crazy the past couple of days because I have been out there on the roads and it is getting more and more congested. There are more and more people, believe it or not, that are traveling this year compared to how everything went down last year with the pandemic and all, right? Because, I mean, we got to think about how it was with the pandemic last year. Nobody was really doing any traveling. It was pretty much one of those, hey, yo, I'll join you via Zoom. Get your meal, cook it up, all that good stuff. I will join you via Zoom. That's how everybody was pretty much doing it. Zoom, Google Hangout, Facebook Watch. That's how everybody was pretty much doing it last year. It was remote Thanksgiving for a lot of people. But this year, it would appear that everybody is pretty much in full effect. Going to be back out there on the roads traveling and everything. So as I always like to give you guys that friendly reminder this time of the year, if you're going to be out there on the road, of course, it's a no-brainer. Not only are you driving for yourself, but you're driving for other people. So definitely be smart when you're out there on the roads and try to have a lot of patience. I can't tell you how all this week I've seen so many drivers that act like they're the only ones that's out there on the road and nobody else matters. And they're just going, it's like all about them and shit. It's like crazy, man. But yeah, be safe and everything. I'm definitely going to be taking it easy this Thanksgiving holiday. I'm just going to be kicking back, relaxing, have a nice, good, small meal with the family. And maybe afterwards, when it comes to Black Friday, maybe I'll go online and I'll get a head start on some of my Christmas shopping, but I'm going to take it easy. Honestly, I'm looking forward to December. My birthday's in December, so I'm particularly looking forward to the new Spider-Man movie that's going to be coming out. I've done a superb job honoring the heads at Marvel Studios when it came to the leaks of the Spider-Man trailer. I've done a fantastic job dodging all trailers, dodging screenshots, the whole 9 yards. I want to literally just sit down, take it. I only know like two things right now, and it's pretty much something that was already announced going into production. So I don't know jack, right? I only know about two things, and it has to do with characters. And this was way like once the movie had began pre-production. Other than that, I don't know anything. I don't know about the plot. I don't know nothing. So I'm going to be going into this. This is the first time that I can think of in many years where I'm going to check out a movie and I'm totally in the dark about it. I don't know if you guys have ever been so hyped up, so anticipating a movie that you guys are like, I don't want to know anything about it. I just need to know this is the star, and that's pretty much. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before. But I actually would have to really take a step back, and I would need a day or two to think, who did I do that for? Like, what movie was it that I went in just totally dark? You know, I don't even know if I would come up with anything, to be honest with you guys. I really don't know if I would come up with anything. So, yeah, we got a nice little laid-back show. We'll open up the phone lines a little bit later on for those of you that would like to call in and everything. But this is just pretty much predictions. Definitely going to get into some wrestling-related news, little tidbits. We're going to be talking about the WWE releases, the latest wave that just went down. So pretty much we're in, we're out. That's how we're going to do this show tonight. So, hey, before I begin, for those of you that are big fans of Robert Plant, he actually released a new duet album with country singer Alison Krauss, Raising the Roof. This is a sequel to an album that they did almost 15 years ago titled Raising Sand. And that album had won a ton of awards, Grammy, I mean, left and right. This bad boy was winning awards. It's a fantastic album. It's got a nice crossbreed of folk, a little bit of pop rock, yeah, nice little combination, a little bit of bluegrass. It's a great album. So they released Raising the Roof on Friday, this past Friday, which would have been November 19th. Heads up, if you are thinking about buying that album for yourself or for someone, you're thinking about buying the CD version, maybe you're thinking about getting that album online, FYI, dodge getting the album online in CD format because you may be waiting an extra couple of weeks for that CD. To each its own, but I put in a pre-order for the CD on Amazon at least 2 weeks before the album was supposed to drop. And I thought I was going to have it in my mailbox on the street release date. Because you know how it is when you're doing stuff with Amazon and you're a Prime member, which I am. Pretty much you're guaranteed to receive new stuff, you know, on the street release date. So if it says, okay, this is supposed to be released everywhere on this date, so you're actually going to get it on that date. Okay, cool. And sadly for me, I'm not getting that album until somewhere between December 1st and December 9th, if you guys can believe that. Whereas, check this out, and I thought this was just crazy. I remember I was telling my wife about this, and even she thought it was pretty crazy. Whereas the vinyl album, if you were to order it right now on Amazon, you could actually get that album, vinyl format, as early as tomorrow. What kind of crazy shit is that? I gotta ask you, what kind of crazy shit is that? So, yeah, if you're thinking about buying the CD version of that new album, you're better off, honestly, going to Best Buy, your local mom and pop store, or whatever, and check it out that way. But the reason why I'm going on and on about that is because after I'm done with the stream, I'm actually going to be checking out the latest album on Spotify. Thank God for Spotify. Thank God for having a Spotify account. So I'm actually going to check it out on Spotify. And I do see some of you guys commenting in the chat. Don't think I'm ignoring you guys. I see exactly what you guys are saying. Latest album. Hang on. There we go. I see what you guys are saying. Just bear with me. I'm going to try to do my best to work you guys into the show. But, yeah, I'll be reviewing that album because I'll actually be checking it out via Spotify. And I'll actually be coming back later on and I'll do a live review for it. So FYI for you guys. Let's see here. Kato says his birthday or her birthday is on December 12th. Well, good for you. Good for you. Hopefully you got plans. Eric Danner is saying, yo, I don't watch the current product, watch old stuff on Peacock. I was actually thinking of watching Survivor Series. No way I am gonna watch that over football. No way I am going to watch. I mean, to each its own. To each its own. I mean, look. You mean, that's on you. You know, I find comments like Eric's to be very interesting from the standpoint of you got some wrestling fans, they aren't quite pleased with what's going on with the current WWE product or the current wrestling product in general across all the promotions, and they find themselves going back to the yesteryears of content that really made them be a fan. And they get lost in that content. So essentially, they're still a fan of wrestling. They're just a fan of probably what they grew up on. And they're pretty much, it's no different than myself and my friends. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some really good artists that's out there. Some really good musicians that's running out there right now. But me and my group of friends, you know, especially since we're in our 40s, you know, we tend to go back and heavily play the music that we essentially grew up on. We go back to the stuff that we were checking out when we were kids coming up from the 80s, the 90s, you know, going into our adulthood in the early 2000s there. We're still pushing that stuff from yesteryear as if it came out yesterday. Right? And there's only but a handful of new artists that were going, okay, yeah, they're a nice little throwback, but they're also kind of, okay, my taste has adapted to the times, and yeah, I'm right there with, okay, yeah, this is actually pretty good. So the same rules essentially apply to wrestling at times for some fans. I just find that so interesting that there's some fans that go like Eric, where, you know, maybe they'll read a little something online and they'll kind of have an idea of a little bit of stuff that's going on or whatnot. But for the most part, it would appear that you have folks kind of like Eric that basically will figure out what's going on with the current wrestling scene by maybe checking out a podcast, maybe reading a dirt sheet, things of that nature. So interesting. Noah, Red Dragon, Young Bucks. I'll get to that a little bit later on. I'll definitely get to that a little bit later on. I'll tell you what, right now, I say let's go on ahead and let's get into some of these WWE releases that had came about, because, man, you talk about the floodgates opening up once again, and boy, did it open up big time, because you had just a lot of us shaking our heads, just kind of going, and I saw what a lot of my friends and colleagues, whether they were podcasters or they were columnists, and they did a nice little editorial piece, or vloggers. I saw all the stuff that was out there by some of my friends and colleagues, and I agree with a lot of the points that a lot of them had made up. I mean, a lot of it just makes common sense, honestly. I didn't find anything out there that I absolutely just said, no, I disagree with this wholeheartedly. But if you notice, I really haven't said anything about this latest wave of releases that went down like 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago, whatever the hell the case may be. And for very good reason. I wanted to talk about it more here on the show. That way it's not just a snapshot of a thought on social media. It's more of an expanded, you know me. I like it when we're here, we're doing the show. You know, I don't have to worry about a freaking time limit stamp or whatever on text and all of that good stuff. But first off, to those that were released, I have to say this yet again. much like all the other releases that went down, whether you were in the ring or you were working behind the scenes. As far as these releases goes, to those of you that were released by WWE this week, to those of you that may end up getting released by WWE before the month of November is out. Can't believe I gotta say this, but I just do. Any future releases that's going to be happening for the remainder of 2021 or just going beyond. Look, I believe in my heart of hearts, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Every relationship, that includes business relationships, friendships, you name it, the whole 9 yards. Everything has its respected season. And what is happening right now, it's just a change of the season. It's okay to allow yourself to feel whatever emotion you're going to be having. Bitterness, confusion, anger. It's okay. You want to have animosity, allow yourself to have those emotions. You are entitled to it. It is your right. But do not let it engulf you to the point where it's messing up. Okay, what am I doing going forward? Now it's about taking that next big step forward. Now that everything has laid out the way that it's laid out and going, okay, all right, I'm dusting myself off. It is what it is. Yo, what's next? Right? Forward. This has been my mentality for years upon years upon years. And I've said this on this show repeatedly. Forward. Always forward. There's a tight ass line that me and my wife love from the Rocky Balboa franchise because the two of us, we are huge Rocky Balboa fans. And I mean, we are pretty much the encyclopedia of freaking Rocky Balboa. You can pick our brain on all things freaking Rocky Balboa. But you know that quote from the Rocky Balboa movie, what was that, like 2000, somewhere between 2004, maybe like 2006 or something like that. I think it was the quote from 2006 about, you know, it isn't how hard. All right, let me see if I remember right. Basically, it's, let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and it will beat you down to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You know, and I think he goes on and he says something like, you, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. And what's most important is not when your ass get knocked down. It's about you picking yourself up and pretty much going forward. And as I've always said on the show, forward, always forward. So that's what I really need for everybody that's being released by the company right now. That's what I need for everybody to, you know, that's real talk. That's real talk right now. So let's get into some of these WWE releases right now, okay? First off, John Morrison. John Morrison being released. Look, of all the releases, if I had to pick two right off the break, one that I find most upsetting, and then another one that I find, so we got our most upsetting, and then the other one that is just, I'm a bit surprised. Morrison has to be one where I'm going, I'm a little bit surprised. Not upset, I'm a little bit surprised at that one. Because you looked at the built-in story arc that he had going on there with The Miz before The Miz had went right into the whole Dancing with the Stars. And we remember the cliffhanger that it essentially went on. And I remember being here on this show some months back, and I made the suggestion, why not go in a direction where Ms. Morrison, they can pretty much stretch this out. If they maybe want to go a couple of months, WWE, that is, if they want to let this go for a couple of months, they could easily go in that direction. I didn't see anybody else bring this up on social media or on their respected show. But I had the foresight to go, yo, you do this shit right, you could actually have this be an intergender tag match at WrestleMania, and you can let it be Miz and Maurice teaming up to take on John Morrison and Taya Valkyrie. And I had said this right at the time when the rumors were running rampant that Taya Valkyrie's contract was pretty much set to expire. What was that? Impact Wrestling, she was with and everything. And so I was already, why not kind of go in this direction? You got something going on right here, And Noah, one thing I want to say in the chat. Noah, I know you're kind of a new listener. We don't label anybody on the show. We don't call people marks. We don't call people smarks. We don't do any of that. Our typical age demographics, because I see the analytics of the show, we pretty much got listeners that are fans of the show that's pretty much in their late 20s, going into their late 50s, early 60s, believe it or not. That's the big bulk of our audience. And I think that's because of the wide range of topics that we cover on the show and just how in depth we go. But we don't do all that name calling stuff here, it's just fans at the end of the day. We're all in this for one thing and one thing only, and that's the love of professional wrestling as a whole, and we're all fans of it. So we don't do that labeling stuff here, just so you know, right? And I'm proud of that. As long as I've been on the air, which has been since 2011, I've never called a fan, even if I may disagree with something that they say. I'm proud to say, and my longtime listeners can back me up, I've never called anybody a mark. I've never called anybody a smart mark. None of that terminology. I don't even call fans stupid. I don't, what I'm saying? I just don't do that. I just don't do that. Teach its own, but me, I don't do that. I try to treat people the way I want to be treated, and that's with respect. That's with respect. That's my principal philosophy. What's up, Matthew? So I had the foresight to say, okay, well, maybe at WrestleMania, let it be an intergender tag match. Why not have Miz, Maurice team up, take on John Morrison, Taya Valkyrie? Oh, man, that'd be pretty badass. Because honestly, I did not expect her to be down in NXT that long. I expected her to maybe work a nice little short program. For me, honestly, I thought maybe about 6-7 months, give or take. And then she would get the call up right in time for WrestleMania. You didn't have to do no draft, silly crap. You could have just easily, it was right there. It was right there. And it felt like the seeds that were being planted early on, there was enough there for a really good feud between Miz and Morrison. So I had assumed that, now we fast forward, that once Miz was done with Dancing with the Stars, whenever he was going to be eliminated, we were somehow going to go right back to Miz and Morrison pretty much picking up where they left off. Right down to the point. I mean, we'll go into it a little bit later on into the show, but I was kind of expecting maybe things to be popping as early as Survivor Series or the night after Survivor Series on that respective week's WWE programming. So to now be in this position where Morrison is pretty much out the door, again, as far as most surprising releases, John Morrison is definitely someone I'm most surprised about, because think about this, and this really goes back to us that remember John Morrison's first rodeo in the WWE, where many of us felt, okay, yeah, he's got a phenomenal look, no doubt about it. He's got a great freaking look. Oh man, he is solid in the ring. Ooh, that mic work though. He needs to really up his game on the mic work. He's gotta get that shit down, because it's not even subpar. It is just. And look, don't get me wrong. Again, Big John Morrison fan. Love the dude. But that first rodeo in WWE, yeah. Then we saw him pretty much part ways with the company and doing his thing on the independents. Loved what he was doing with Impact Wrestling. Loved what he was doing as Johnny Mundo over there in Lucha Underground. I mean, that right there, if I had to, Lucha Underground number one, and then definitely what he was doing in Impact Wrestling would be my number two. You know, this was one of those cases where, hey, won't you go out there? Go see the world. Go experience some new things and come on back in a couple of years and let's see what happens. Well, how the hell were we supposed to know that John Morrison was going to be gone for the duration that he was going to be gone? Because remember, he said it many times in interviews over the years. He thought that he was going to be back in the WWE a lot sooner. He didn't know that, okay, one thing's pretty much going to set this up, and just the domino effect that it would have, and the great time that he was having in the process and all of that. And, you know, so it's not a case of, you know, he came back to WWE a little bit too late because he's too old, or nothing like that whatsoever by any stretch. I don't personally feel. For me, this ultimately, again, in the case of John Morrison, this feels like missed opportunity with John Morrison. It really, really does. Here's a guy that has shown he can adapt to whatever style you need. I don't mean in the ring per se. I specifically mean, okay, whether you want to plug and play John Morrison in New Japan, or you want to plug play him in Impact, or you want to, he's able to adapt to that. Okay, you need me to kind of dummy down a little bit and do that television style presentation. I thought of all the people, of all the in-ring talents that I've seen in WWE over the years, I was under the strongest impression that John Morrison was absolutely the best as far as adapting to that WWE style TV presentation. And I was just under the impression that, you know what, this guy, yeah, why not a John Morrison as maybe Mr. Money in the Bank? Why not a John Morrison that maybe could eventually feud with an Edge, or feud with a AJ Styles, or why not a world heavyweight champion in John Morrison? I actually entertained that thought many times. I felt he was in the right time. He was in the right place. I felt that this was it for him. And to get this release, as far as most surprising releases, this is the one that I felt was most surprising because they barely scratched the surface with John Morrison. Far as I'm concerned, a phenomenal talent, tore it up in all the other promotions I mentioned, and then some that's out there on the independents. But far as I am concerned, poorly underutilized in WWE. Convince me otherwise. Poorly underutilized. So most surprising release, I'd have to go with that. Now, this ties into his wife, his beautiful wife, Taya Valkyrie, whose work I followed for many years now. Love her stuff. Love her stuff. She is awesome. If there were a handful of wrestlers you were to pick my brain on and ask me off the break, hey, if you could do a photo op, do an autograph, chat for about 5-10 minutes, there's not that many people on my list, believe it or not. Morrison and Valkyrie are right there at the top of my list because they come off so freaking not only likable, but extremely approachable. Extremely approachable. And from all the information I've been able to gather talking with folks, be it fans that's seen these guys at conventions or people that's actually worked with them, how I'm thinking and feeling is pretty much matching up to the real deal. So Taya Valkyrie causing supposedly waves on social media for releasing the series of statements that she released on the WWE releases. She definitely really reacted big time to WWE releasing her husband and John Morrison and everything. Let me pick this up because she put out a series of stuff out here. One post, she reacted to a fan who pretty much had criticized her run as Frankie Monet, saying she barely got anything on NXT. She replied to that. She said, because I did what I was told. That's what you do when you have a job. Yeah, absolutely. You can have, she's not telling you something that you don't already know unless you're under the age of 21. Okay? She's seriously, you can have all the greatest ideas in the world on, okay, this is how I'm going to make this job better. This is how I'm going to have production meet these goals. This is how I'm going, and you can have all the greatest ideas in the world. But at the end of the day, it's not your company. You're essentially a kid playing in somebody else's sandbox, and you pretty much got to go to the beat of their fucking drum. And if you don't like that, well, baby, there's the door. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out. Even when you ultimately become your own boss, there's always... Sorry about that. There's some sirens in the background there. You guys probably didn't hear it. I am, because with my cans on, sound is extremely enhanced there. Sounds like there's about 5, and I hear an ambulance. Yeah, I hear an ambulance. Ooh, I hope everything's all right. But you get the point that I'm making there, right? So she goes on to say, so that's, one response there that she had. And look, we all can definitely, I mean, if you watch the NXT product, yeah, no shit. It seemed as though she really wasn't properly utilized down there in NXT. Yeah, right. Tell us something we don't already know, right? But anyway, she goes on to say this in regards to the releases. Yo, fuck them. Stop supporting a company that has zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling? Spend your money on the hundreds of other alternatives. This is wrong. Ethically, as employers, they don't care about us, talent or fans. We will be just fine. Hashtag the Mundos. That's what she said, straight up. And you know what? I totally get where she's coming from. I totally, not from a wrestling standpoint, just life in general. I get where she's coming from. It's real easy to go, even if it's the truth, it's real easy to say, hey, yo, it's nothing personal. It's just business. It is. Lord knows, and I'm not going to make it be about me, but I can relate from this standpoint. It's nothing personal. It's just business. In some instances, you can lose your job because you're not performing to a certain level. Maybe you're doing some stuff that, quite honestly, you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to get yourself fired. An old boss of mine had said a long time ago, man, he said, Lee, I hate firing people. But you know something? I'm not firing them. They're firing themselves. All you got to do is just show up, do your job. That's it. As long as you're doing your job, ain't no problems. Profound impact that had on me. I first heard this when I was maybe 22. I'm 40 now, okay? But for me to just, all this time, right? Just marinate on that. I get where Ty is coming from. She's probably most likely like us. And she knows that this global entity that's known as WWE is bringing in all this great money. They're doing a really great job of staying cash flow positive. We went over the numbers for WWE this past quarter, and they are just, and I know a lot of people right now are probably looking at those numbers. Normally, they're not a financial expert, but now they're looking at these numbers and they're simply just saying, oh man, this is so fucked up, WWE. How you gonna do that? You know, you made all this boatload of money. And I will say this until I turn blue in the face, which is pretty hard to see because of my complexion, but you get the point, which is this. It's real easy when you are not in your 20s, you're younger. It's real, and you don't know what it's like to be out there on your own trying to survive, okay? You have to put yourself in a position where I gotta follow this budget. I gotta follow this budget. Perfect example. You're getting ready to go into college. You don't told your parents, hey, I'm at the age now, I'm going to go get myself a car, I'm going to learn how to drive and everything, and I'm going to go get my own place, and I'm going to be living off campus, so I'm going to drive myself to and from school. Obviously, I'm going to need some type of a job because I got to bring in some type of money, so, you know, somehow, if I want to be able to do blah, 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 right? So you got the car. You got the car. What that mean? You got the car. You're going to have car insurance. Okay, great. You trying to get a place. Okay, well, your credit's got to be either banging, but then what if you ain't got no credit? So if you ain't got no credit, 9 times out of 10, the place that you trying to rent, they're going to hit you up and they're going to be like, yo, let me holler at you real quick. We need a security deposit. Yeah, you got to give us the first month and the last month of your lease. Okay? You doing school, right? Okay. What's the tuition? What's the breakdown of that? Did you make some type of payment arrangements? How you going to be paying that off? You paying it off on a monthly basis? Did you get a credit card in your name? If you did, what's your credit limit? Okay, obviously you got to, right? And so it's this cycle. Welcome to life. Welcome to the real world. And all of those things, when you eat, when you decide you want to take that girl or that boy out on that date, you need money, right? You want that Spotify account. You want that iTunes account. You want to check out Apple TV. You want to check out your Pornhub or your fucking OnlyFans, or right? Money, 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 money. You got to sit down, you got to open up the books, and you got to be like, okay, if I'm bringing in X amount of money, how do I set myself up so that not only am I paying off all of these things, but by the time I get done paying all of these things, I have some type of a profit gain so that it carries over into next time I get paid, and it just continues to roll over, and I got a nice cushion to sit on, whether in case of an emergency, I just want to continue to sit there and let that shit grow. You know how motherfuckers, and I say that very respectfully, you know how motherfuckers, including myself, get into a position where, oh man, even it happens to me once in a while. Oh man, I don't have money for this bill. I don't have money for, didn't budget right, didn't budget smart, did not budget smart. So now you're in a position where it's like, okay, there's so much going out, but there's not enough going in to balance everything out, especially so I can be in a plus gain position. That's how we work as a society. That is how a lot of these companies operate. So you can say to me, oh man, WWE brought in these record profit, yada, 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 yackety smackety. Yeah, but guess what? If they want to be able to continue to stay cash flow positive and they're in a position, let me tell you something straight up. The days of some of your favorite wrestlers, or I like them, they seem okay. The days of these wrestlers that are not being used for several weeks of WWE television programming, and they're just continuing to collect a check, they're showing up, they're just hanging out in the back. As fucked up as it is, guys, those days are over. Those days are fucking over. That's the bigger fucking picture. Trust me, it would be really easy for me to come on here, and it would be very easy for me to just do an entire show, get a whole bunch of likes, get a whole bunch of subs. It'd be very easy for me to just say WWE. Oh man, they're an evil fucking company. Vince McMahon is so old. He's so senile. He don't know what the fuck he's doing. Or my favorite argument that's running around right now, which is, well, not really an argument, but a declaration, if you will. WWE is dead. They aren't making any money whatsoever. Those are the ones I just haul ass and run the other way when I hear that being put out there, okay? But you get the point. You get the point. It would be very easy for me to just do an entire bashing session on WWE every single time they're doing these releases. Some of these are definitely, it's easy to get caught up in the emotion, especially from that fan to talent perspective, that connection, right? You see these guys on your television every single week. You know, you feel sometimes you're living vicariously through these men and women that you love following on a week-to-week basis, that it's real hard sometimes to just, wait a minute, let me take a step back here and let me look at the bigger picture here. Pretend you had your own business. Pretend you had your own business. Let's just say you had a nightclub. This isn't long-winded. Just stay with me for a second. Pretend you had a nightclub. Let's say the maximum capacity for this nightclub on a Friday, Saturday night, actually for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Let's say the max capacity is about 400 people between 3 levels, about 400 people, right? You're doing everything you can to keep that club rocking and rolling, all right? You got to worry about security. You got to worry about the lease for that property. You got to worry about food. You got to worry about drinks. Let's throw parking in there too. You got to worry about parking. You got to worry about having some type of devices that can pick up any foreign, illegal, potential weapons and shit. You got to worry about all that type of stuff, all right? You got to have employees. You got to have some type of coverage besides physical security. You got to also have the employees that can cook the food, all that good stuff, right? Hypothetically speaking, work starts to get slow. Work starts to get real slow, right? Maybe that first year or so, business is banging. Business is banging. But then you get to that point where it's like, okay, this is the new norm. This is how much money I'm bringing in on a monthly basis. And man, it's getting to that point now where you're trying to do everything you can to keep everybody on your payroll. But you're getting yourself into a position where you're starting to have very little to show for as continuing to be cash flow positive. What if it's a case where by the time you're paying everybody is just whoever you need to pay? Y'all remember Married with Children? You remember how the intro was with Married with Children, and Al Bundy would come into the house, he'd sit on the sofa, and everybody, Peggy, Bud, Kelly, everybody was just coming. Even the damn dog Buck. Everybody just freaking cleaned Al Bundy out, and he's just sitting there. All he can do is just put his hand down his freaking pants, and that pretty much was it, right? That's you. You're Al Bundy. You got to pay everybody, right? It's not going to take care of itself. By the time you get done, it's like you're lucky if you break even. You're lucky if you break even. So eventually you got a tough decision to make, which is, okay, I guess I got to go on ahead and I guess I got to make some cuts in a few areas. That's real life. I know for our older audience, they get this and they may be saying, Lee, we got this. Dog, go ahead and continue on with the releases. But we still got a decent amount of younger listeners that don't really know, but they will know in a little bit. Soon as they maybe are getting ready to wrap up high school and they're going to college, or they're doing college as we speak, and maybe they're kind of about to learn. They're about to learn the hard way, sadly. We got to break it down sometimes like that for our younger listeners. Older listeners, I know you guys know this, but it's at the end of the day, though, this wrestling thing, it's still about the young kids, believe it or not. So we got to break it down like that sometimes. That's how the sausage is made. That's how it is. Even when you're your own boss, that's how it is sometimes. So Taya Valkyrie saying what she said on social media, look, she has a right. She has a right. And I'm not defending her or anything like that. It's her right to feel however she wants to feel. If that's what she feels in her heart, you know what? That's on her. I honestly believe that she's coming more from a place of hurt that, they released her husband. I know there was this narrative that was being put out there where, oh, well, you know what? Maybe Jomo just asked for his release because his wife was no longer there in the company and he just wanted to go on ahead and no. When you're making good money like that with WWE, you go ahead and you ride that ship for as long as you could possibly ride that bad boy, which is exactly what he pretty much had did. So, she's entitled to her opinion. Anybody else that maybe wants to look at this a little bit differently and want to react differently, I'm kind of looking at them a little bit sideways. But in the case of what she put out there, man, I get it. I totally get it. There's more stuff that she had to say. And again, she really was coming from the place of, I can't believe they did this to my husband. Here's some more stuff that she said here. Let me take a swig of my Monster drink here. Here's what else she said. And this has to do with her husband. You're the most creative, hardworking, passionate person I know. The dedication and sacrifice you give to your art is unmatched. From training in the gym to gymnastics or in the ring, you commit 100% to giving it your all. Ain't that the truth? We as fans, we've seen it with our own two eyes with Jomo. Anybody remember when he left WWE the first rodeo? Remember how he talked about how much he wanted to improve as an overall personality, and that he was taking acting lessons and talking about how he felt it was really helping him. And we really saw it truly at full display with the stuff that he was doing in Lucha Underground. Honestly, I'll never forget one of the first couple of times I was watching Lucha Underground and I got Johnny Mundo on my TV and he's freaking talking Spanish. I'm going, okay, I know Taya's helping him there because she's bilingual. Like, I know she's helping him. But the way he was kind of, you're like, you've been taking some lessons. Okay, I see you. But then if you really weren't that convinced, then you saw what was going on with him in Impact and you're going, all right, night and day, this brother's come a long way. She goes on to say, you're always helping those that need it by sharing your wisdom and knowledge, always with the goal to create the best moments and movement for the fans. This journey with you has been the grandest adventure, my love, and you inspire me every day to reach beyond the stars. You're the greatest artist I've ever known, and I can't wait to continue to watch you grow and succeed in all of everything you do. I love you. Let's make magic. Right? Again, it's pretty obvious with some of the statements that she put out there where she was really coming from. Obviously, she was hurt with a lot of the releases that had came about, but that one in regards to her husband, you know, I mean, a lot that she put out there. Another thing she said, my husband got fired. This is why I'm saying this. I'm speaking my truth. Keep that in mind. Her truth, her opinion. We may not have to agree. We can disagree, but it is her opinion, and she's entitled to it. I'm sick and tired of people treating us like shit. In 2 weeks, we lost both our incomes before the holidays. I'm allowed to feel how I do. What did I just say? And bear in mind, this stuff with Taya Valkyrie, there was only the first joint about, yo, fuck this place or whatever. That was the only thing that I read previously. This other stuff, this is all new in real time. But remember what I had said at the very beginning. All these people that were released, that may be released in the future, it's okay. Allow yourself to feel whatever emotion, anger, whatever, right? Nobody wants to be in this position. This goes beyond the talk of wrestling. Nobody wants to be in a position where right before the holidays, you lose your job. You've got no fucking source of income. How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to, you feel me? Nobody wants to be in that position. Heaven forbid you and your significant other, everything is going good, and this holiday season, one of you guys lose your job. Okay, obviously that means that the other person is going to have to pick up the slack. You know, maybe they can buy you a month or two, three at most, so that other person can do what they need to do, and then they're able to contribute as an equal partner on a regular basis. Right? That's one thing. Obviously, you've got to recalculate your budget and all that. But man, to not only lose that income, but then your significant other comes in about a month later or some shit and says, honey, I lost my job. Now that's two incomes. That's hopefully you saved. Hopefully you saved a little something, because if you didn't save, oof, that's all I got to say. So, but he's going to be all right. Morrison, he's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. That is a guy that just keeps on going. Phenomenal shape, takes really good care of himself. He's going to be all right. Now, I know some of you guys are thinking, man, so we're pretty much going to do a 2-hour show on WWE releases. I really hope you appreciate that real talk in regards to Jomo, Taya Valkyrie, because the rest of these releases, I got to say, I'm pretty much going to be blazing through them. So appreciate that for all it's worth. Shout out to Xavier Woods, by the way. Xavier Woods, he sadly had found out about the WWE releases while doing a G4 live stream. And I'm so glad that G4 is back, by the way. It's great seeing. I've been checking out the stuff since late last year and everything, and I'm eating that shit up. I've just been eating that shit up. But it's great to see them really in full effect and everything. But yeah, he was on a YouTube live stream for G4's Attack of the Show, and he was in the middle of a break, but the stream was still going when the WWE releases were announced, and way he reacted, I mean, shocked. He even at one point got up and walked off, and you know, he was definitely upset. I watched this, and I just couldn't. I just felt like that, like, dude, my heart's with you, man. Like, I get it. I feel you. We've all been in that position. You know, we come to work the next day, somebody that we enjoyed working with, we're going, hey, yo, what happened to, no bullshit. Not trying to make it be about me, but no bullshit. Like, we all can relate to my point. No bullshit. There was this young girl that I had trained at my job, like a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, man, she had a really nice, bubbly personality, very attentive, loved it. I mean, the way she would interact with folks was just awesome. Even if you were having a shitty day. And there were a couple of times where I would come into work and I'm just, right? Even after I have a monster or whatever, I'm still feeling like shit. There was just something about her that was just, how can you act shitty towards her, right? Because she's so bubbly. I find out she wasn't working there anymore, and I'm like, yo, what happened to blah, 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 blah? I find out, I'm like, and I was upset. I'm like, yo, I trained this person, and they were cool. What the fuck? But yeah, his co-host, they looked pretty concerned of Xavier Woods trying to figure out, what the hell was going on and everything. And yeah, it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. You can actually watch it on social media. Just maybe type in some keywords, Xavier Woods, WWE Releases, and just type that in on social media, especially if you got the Twitter. Just type it in and you'll see it. It was just, whoa. If you thought the Adam Cole joint was something when he was checking everything out during his Twitch stream and he had found out about the WWE releases. I know you guys remember that. Yeah, that was just, so yeah, shout out to Xavier Woods. That's unfortunate that he had to find out about that in that format. All right, these other WWE releases. Top Dollar, Swerve Scott. Top Dollar, a.k.a. AJ Francis. Isaiah Swerve Scott. Gone. Fucking gone. I mean, this is just, so I mean, essentially we pretty much, and we got rid of our boy Adonis. What's his name? So the entire Hit Row fucking stable, all those guys, they're fucking gone. This was perplexing, not surprising. Well, actually, no. The one name from Hit Row that did surprise me that they would go ahead and release? Isaiah Swerve Scott. Fucking phenomenal. That guy was phenomenal in the ring. Phenomenal bars as far as his rap game goes. In-ring personality-wise, maybe not since Enzo. You understand where I'm coming from? As far as that entertainment factor, maybe not since Enzo. And I really felt that Swerve Scott was starting to scratch the surface there. And of all the people, Swerve Scott was somebody I just constantly, I smell money, I taste money, I see money, that's money. I thought Swerve Scott was it. So the fact that they went, WWE that is, the fact that they went in this direction and just axed that shit. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably saying, why not just send them back to NXT 2.0? First of all, I found it to be very baffling for me, to each its own, but for me, I thought it was a telltale sign. I had what's that show that had the robot? Warning, Will Rogers, Lost in Space. I just couldn't help but immediately think that as soon as these guys got pulled from NXT and they were put on the main roster, because they were still in the middle of their feud with Delgado Fantasma. And they just had introduced, what's the girl that's down there? That nice, cute, thick-looking, light-skinned girl that's down there. I don't know if she's black Latino or just straight-up Latino. Carmen Lopez or Electra Lopez, whatever the hell her name is. That little thick mommy. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. They had just introduced her. And her and B-Fab was just kind of going back and forth and all this other stuff. And that whole feud did not reach its proper conclusion. For me, that was to each its own. But for me, that was a telltale sign that, hey, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. And I tried to be as optimistic as possible when Hit Row moved up. I said, okay, We got all 4 members of Hit Row. Okay, cool. All right, as far as who they could potentially feud with, well, be kind of nice if maybe we saw them do a little something with the Usos. Survivor Series right around the corner. Maybe there could be some interpromotional matchups. I don't know. Maybe you could do something with Street Profits. Maybe you could do something with New Day. Maybe you could do something with the Dirty Dogs. Maybe you could do something with the Mysterios. Maybe you could, it felt limited for me. I don't know how it was for you guys, but it felt limited for me. But I'm just going, okay. Like for me, my ultimate vision, hindsight being 2020, I would have preferred it if Hit Row just could have went wherever they felt like. Just let them be free agents and just bounce around wherever, whenever they felt like. I thought that might have been the most smartest thing to do with those guys. But when we're automatically restraining them to just one brand, it's like, okay, you've essentially handcuffed the hell out of these guys. Because if you just follow where some of your favorite characters are right now in storyline, you can't help but go, well, fuck, how am I supposed to plug and play these guys that I just acquired? How am I really supposed to incorporate them in, right? So they pretty much were sadly dead from the start. That's my whole point. So AJ Francis, he responded to a couple of stuff that was being put out there. Somebody decided they wanted to throw some darts on the wall as far as a narrative on why ultimately Top Dollar AJ Francis was released by WWE. And as I've always told you guys, especially in the later years, until you hear it straight from the source, take everything that you're hearing with a grain of freaking salt. But Top Dollar, Isaiah Swerve Scott, they commented on their WWE Releases AJ Francis / Top Dollar. He pretty much said, see y'all in 90 days. Hashtag budget cuts. We made something special. And now we get to, again, hashtag the crew. And he pretty much tagged himself, B-Fab, Adonis, Swerve Scott. And apparently he's going to be dropping his 3rd album on December 3rd on all streaming platforms. So Swerve Scott, all he did was put up a devil face emoji. Wrestling Revolver, they kind of try to capitalize on it. They pretty much said whose house, and they've got a picture of Swerve Scott. So they're kind of already letting the cat out of the bag as far as what could possibly be next there for Swerve Scott. But AJ Francis said a lot more in regards to some rumors going around that he apparently developed backstage heat on the main roster after he got the call up from SmackDown. Yeah. Anybody else detecting bullshit here? Like, that's kind of right. Here's what he said, and I quote, "Here's what rubs people the wrong way, standing up for your own. When B-Fab he's talking about, was released, and I called the office myself to tell them they made a mistake. Standing up for yourself. People in the PC Performance Center, told me Hit Row wouldn't work for a year and a half, and I never took their advice." So again, people were telling him for about a year and a half, Hit Row ain't nothing, this really isn't going anywhere, you're wasting your time, switch it up, right? He followed up and he said, "Trust me, I got plenty stories I can tell about how I was disrespected, but just took it on the chin like a professional. Even with the video I released today, it was all professionalism. But I'm not gonna let these BS, bullshit reports, ruin my reputation. I got tea I can spill too. By the way, if somebody could do me a favor, post a link to the new rap that Top Dollar had put out there. Not the joint about Jinder Mahal and all that, but apparently he did a rap on his WWE release. I was trying to find it right before the show. I didn't have any luck, unfortunately. So anybody checking out the show live, you could post the link in the chat. I'd appreciate it. I'll definitely give you a shout out, and then we can actually all play the audio together and hear it in real time, because I would love to react to the rap, because I know last time we dissected the hell out of that Jinder Mahal diss track of his, and I'm hoping that maybe this one is actually better than what we had heard before. But Top Dollar, AJ Francis, I gotta say, I like that dude. I gotta say, I fucking like that dude. From the moment I began watching the WWE Treasures thing, Most Wanted Treasures on A&E, because that's where a lot of us have first came across him that were watching that show on A&E on a regular basis. That's where we were first introduced to him. And he came off as such a likable character. And I remember, I don't know if you guys recall, but when we were first introduced to him on that show, we're told how he is a aspiring wrestler. And we're like, oh, okay, well, he's definitely got the size, kind of has the look. He seems like he's got some personality. Like, oh, okay. You know who he also reminds me a lot of, too? You know who he also, no bullshit, and as soon as I fucking say this, you guys are going to be like, yes, Lee, I fucking see that. I fucking see that. You know who he reminds me a lot of? The Kid Miro. And I'm not talking about AEW's Miro. I'm talking about Deezus and Miro, the guys with the show on Showtime. He reminds me a lot like Miro. Now that I've said that, I bet a lot of you guys are going to be like, yeah, Lee, he does. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's who he reminds me a lot of. So, I mean, as far as his personality, that big, that booming and everything, that infectious, reminds me a lot of that. Right down to the point, I could see him, if he ever were to say, nah, you know what, I'm okay with the wrestling. I'm actually going to just go be an on-screen personality. Maybe I'm going to just go do a webcast, interview different people, or, I could see him doing some stuff like that and be very, very good at it. Be very good at it. So I don't think the brother is going to be done with the wrestling business whatsoever. I don't see him. I don't see this being a thing where, he's going to do a few conventions. Maybe he'll do a talk, shoot interview here and there, and then he's pretty much just gonna, fade away. I don't see that happening with him. I just don't. I would be very surprised if that would be the case. But no, I think this man is going to be around for the long haul when it's all said and done. So he'd be a good plug and play. Honestly, maybe a NWA. See, that's the thing. He really wasn't. None of those guys, except really Swerve Scott, was really able to truly establish themselves. I don't really. Maybe Impact. Shit, I can see the whole goddamn Hit Row and Impact for real. But if not Impact, maybe MLW. Maybe Plug and Play and those. And I'm going for just to knock all the members of Hit Row. I'm just going for all of them. Take all of them as they are. Plug and play them in MLW or put them in freaking Impact. Yo, that'd be beast to see them in NWA. That would be beast to see them in NWA. Under the right storyline, too, how badass would it be if ultimately members of Strictly Business kind of have to put their feelings to the side and, reunite because you've got this new devastating stable that's just running roughshod, right? That would be pretty pretty freaking interesting. I definitely feel. See who else we got that was released. So I mean, we just knocked out a boatload of names right there. Who else we got here? Jason Riker. You know what's sad about this Jason Riker release? By the way, you guys been enjoying yourselves so far. Do me a huge favor. Make sure you hit that like button. When you do that, you really help spread the word about the content. Help put more eyeballs on it. And it's free! And also, if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button. We are like 5 away from our YouTube channel hitting 11,900 subs. I'm just trying to see if maybe we can kind of just get to that 12,000 to put a bookend on 2021. So if you've yet to subscribe when you do subscribe. And I'm live when you subscribe. You get to see a nice little cool name on the screen, your name. You get the shout out, all that good stuff. Yeah, Jason Riker. You know what's really sad about the Jason Riker release? It's the fact that I said this some weeks ago. I don't know if you all remember this. But when we had last month, basically, when we had the last batch of releases, I saw this one joint where somebody on social media had this. It was hilarious. It was the ultimate clickbait. And it basically was docked up in such a way where you were like, oh, man. But somebody had said like a month ago, Jason Riker has been released from WWE. We at WWE wish him the very best in his future endeavors. Now, Jason Riker, Gunner from TNA Impact, as some of you guys know, I actually interviewed him many, many years ago when he was with Impact. He was the only active member on the Impact roster at the time, seen on weekly TV, that we actually were able to interview. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else. I think it was him and Joey Ryan that were, like, as far as actively seen on TV and they're with promotion full time, those were like the only 2 guys from Impact that, of all the guys we were able to interview over the years, was like, hey, what a nice grab. And Gunner was a sweetheart. It was awesome interviewing him. We were going over match predictions. I can't remember for what pay-per-view and all that, but it was good. Been a fan, my point, I've been a fan of Gunner's work since way back when, right? So I remember when I saw this image last month, the first thing I do, I fucking go on, I go in my emails and I'm like, where's his contact info? I'm like, where's his contact info? And I just hit him up and I just say, hey, man, I just found out about your WWE release. Oh, man, that's fucking sucks. Hey, man, I think everything happens for a reason. Chin up. Just keep pushing forward, man. Just sending you nothing but love. Letting you know I'm thinking about you. Continuing to check out your work, man. Just keep at it. And it turns out the shit was fake. The shit was fake. That was a month ago. No bullshit. I could show you the email right now if you don't believe me. I could show you the email. And I just like, whoa. But this is legit. So he actually was released. Look, man, you look at a lot of these people that were released. And this is kind of another one of those. And it's a recurring theme, which is, okay, well, how active were they on television? Were they really part of anything significant of a major storyline? And sadly, no, not the case at all. And when you look at Jason Riker, look, I'll say this. They really tried to give him every single chance humanly possible. And look, I'm not going to say he went out there and kept hitting home runs, but let me tell you where I finally went, you know what? He's got something. When he was having that feud with Elias and everything pretty much culminated in Elias By the way, because I haven't watched SmackDown probably in the past 3 weeks. So, question to the chat. Has Elias resurfaced yet as this new character? I'm most curious. Because I go back to that feud that Riker had with Elias, and that just pretty much ended in a way where Elias' tail tucked between his legs. No more Elias, no more playing the guitar, right? We're like, okay, so you're going to burn the guitar, you're going to go cut your hair probably, get a whole new look, maybe shave your beard, whatever. Okay, cool. All right, good. I felt that what I was seeing of Riker in that little period, okay, you know what? Now it's kind of clicking here. We got something. Now we just got to build upon it and kind of go from there. Again, you guys in the chat, has Elias surfaced with his new gimmick yet? I'm actually looking at the chat right now.
Baby.
Oh, baby. Tell me in the chat, has Elias surfaced yet? Because I'm most curious. Because if not, that is just got to be one of the what the fuck is going on in WWE. You know, we got the draft and all this other stuff that had went down, and we've yet to freaking see Elias resurface yet. I did not have my notification on there, so I heard the baby. Usually when we get a baby, usually that means somebody had subscribed. So let me see if I can figure out who had just subscribed so I can show them some proper love here. And why is everybody that's checking out the stream live right now, either you guys don't know because you don't watch SmackDown? Thank you. I was waiting on somebody. It's like, Gino hooked me up. Thank you, Gino. Gino said, no, Elias hasn't been seen yet. Okay, so that's even more mind-boggling. Can I make a bold prediction right now for you guys? This is my bold prediction. Right now. If Elias, whatever this repackaging thing is, if Elias has not resurfaced by Survivor Series weekend, or by the time WWE gets to the Royal Rumble, I fear that's another brother that's going to be released. Mark my words. I would not be surprised if this year ended and we hear Elias gets released, because you had the draft, post-draft, you had plenty of opportunities to resurface or repackage Elias. Just something I want you guys to have in the back of your head. The last thing I want to do is just, okay, you know, we're predicting, because, you know, we're not trying to predict people's ultimate demise from a promotion, but I just find it rather, of all the people that, you know, has been released, and then you're thinking about those that you haven't seen in a good minute, Elias is definitely one of those people where you're going, why hasn't this guy resurfaced yet? What the hell is going on here? So just marinate on that. But Jason Riker, 39 years old, I really felt he was starting to piece everything together when it came to that Elias feud. And then right when the program, you know, was pretty much over, it just went kind of ice cold again. Right? And he was just honestly being used sporadically. Right down to the point, you try thinking about the last couple of matches that we saw him in on WWE programming and everything. And even that was pretty sporadic as well. And if I remember correctly, he had a squash match against Karrion Krauss. Boy, did that, like, was that freaking, right? But no, one of the last times Jason Riker was doing anything, a couple of episodes of Main Event, Cedric Alexander beat his ass. Before that, Veer beat his ass. Yeah, the last time we saw him officially on WWE programming, he lost to Karrion Kross. It was a squash match, from what I remember, but he pretty much had got delegated to main event. The Symphony of Destruction match. That was the last. Yeah, I know you guys remember that match now with Elias. That was fucking badass, and we thought he was. And then just immediately after that, he pretty much was just pulled from fucking TV, and that was it. So, look, he's got a great look. I thought the storyline that... I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you guys something. He had a fantastic storyline with Dexter Lumis, known as Samuel Shaw in Impact Wrestling. A great storyline that those two guys had in Impact. And I'm a little bit surprised that WWE didn't try to, okay, obviously you got Lumis in NXT, but I'm a bit surprised that they didn't try to maybe go down that route and, right, maybe you could have had it be a situation where he came into the crosshairs of Alexa Bliss maybe. And it ends in such a way where, she has like this weird fascination with him. Ultimately, the feeling becomes mutual or whatever, right? A little bit surprised that I'm just throwing shit on the wall. But you get the point that I'm making, right? Kind of weird. I think he's going to be all right. I don't think he's going to be going off into the sunset, just we never hear from him again. I could definitely see him not only going back out there on the independents, I can definitely see him making a return to Impact Wrestling. I can even see him do some stuff with GXW. I could even see him do some stuff with GXW if they're still around. NWA as well, because remember, he is a former World Heavyweight Champion for the NWA Anarchy division. And he also did some stuff with NWA Charlotte. So I could definitely see him do some stuff with those guys for sure. So I don't think we've seen the last of him, to my point. I don't think we've seen the last of him. Who else? What other names we got here? Drake Maverick. 38-year-old Drake Maverick. Look, we knew this was going to be a matter of time, right? I don't really think any of us are that surprised. By the way, have you guys seen the video package that's running around that Drake Maverick put out concerning his WWE release? If you guys have not seen that yet, I believe I can actually show you guys it. I don't think I'm going to get in trouble for this. Yeah, hang on, guys, because I'm going to actually send it to myself right now. And this is actually worth checking out. It's actually worth me going out of my way and trying to upload this for you guys. And while that's uploading, so I can download it, look, Drake Maverick is a guy. I've watched him since, God, man, TNA Gut Check, right? No, British Boot Camp. TNA's British Boot Camp. Yeah. Jesus, yeah. That's a good minute. So shout out if you remember him from way back then, because that's pretty much when he was Rockstar Spud. Remember that? Rockstar Spud. Paired up with EC3 down there in TNA, Impact Wrestling. I mean, he is the true definition of never giving up, taking chicken shit and turning it into chicken salad. Seriously, we've seen this guy so many times over the years. Just when you think, okay, this dude's been handicapped big time, somehow he's able to just make the best out of a situation and really make it good. Really make it good. Oh man, all I got is a can of Spam, tomato, lettuce, black pepper, shredded cheese, flour. Okay, I'll be able to make one nice bomb-ass meal. You just wait and see. You just wait and see. And that's what he was able to do every single time. I still remember that video. Wasn't that video earlier this year where he had the whole emotional teary-eyed joint that was going on? Remember that? And just the unanimous, hang on a second, guys.
WWE.
Okay, that's the audio. Okay, so let me download this real quick. See, it'd be easy for me to just play the audio, but you guys that's checking out the live stream, I actually want you guys to see this. So I've downloaded it, and I'm actually going to show this to you guys here. Let me go with media source here. Drake Maverick. All right, we'll hit OK. And let's see here. Where is the video? All right, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys this this Drake Maverick video here. Okay, let's just play this real quick here. All right, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let this play. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, check this out. This was pretty damn good.
So I just got off the phone with WWE Talent Relations. Let me know that as of today I've been released from my contract. Can't pull this one again. Get up. You're going to be fine. I mean, everything they ever gave you, you turned into a moment, right? If they wanted you to be a manager, you made it work. If they wanted you to run around 24/7, you made it work. They even tried to get rid of you. You made that work too. I don't know what else to tell you. You're a success. You've always been a success. And you're going to carry on being a success. You did everything you said you were going to do in life. You're a success. Look at me. Look at me. Hey. I know we've been here before. We don't belong here anymore. What was our dream? Come on, what was our dream? It wasn't to be a WWE superstar, was it? It was to be a professional wrestler. You can't be fired from wrestling, pal. Somebody's going to book you. Even an idiot like you. But what I'm asking you to do is get up. Because if you don't get up, this whole journey, this whole dream, it's going to die. It's going to end. And we got so much more that we need to accomplish in this journey. It's going to keep going. But we're not going to accomplish nothing if you don't get up. Come on, get up. What, you're just going to let this dream die? Get up. We're going to accomplish everything. Get up. Get up.
That is badass. That is badass. You know, obviously the first question I got on my brain, I don't know how you guys are, but the first question I got on my brain is, so yo, who was that calling him? That's what I want to know. Who was that calling him, right? But what you saw right there, I think, is the perfect embodiment. See, there's going to be so many people that's going to, you know, oh, that was awesome. That was a great video. And it is. It is. But I look at it a step further, which is that video you saw there. And for those that's going to be listening to the audio version of this, really, you got to see the overall video presentation. You got to see the visuals of this piece that Drake Maverick released on social media yesterday. It is a testament to how excellent of a storyteller that Drake Maverick is. Something that we really take for granted, that we really do not give him his flowers on, right? He is the perfect embodiment of, okay, I'm in a bad position here. Okay, well, this is pretty much all I've got to work with. All right, I'm going to make the best out of it. I'm going to take this negative and I'm going to turn it into a positive. And point here, yet again, okay, the guy is released, and I just love how he pretty much takes that news and spins it in such a mega kick-ass way. By the way, did anybody else think initially that maybe the person that was getting ready to give him that pep talk, did anybody else think maybe that was going to be EC3? Because we've kind of seen a little bit of that from time to time with EC3 bumping into people on social media, where he's pretty much telling them it's time for you to control your narrative and shit. I sure as hell thought initially when I was watching it that EC3 was going to be talking to Drake. Seriously. But that's another guy. He's going to be okay. Look, you know, it's quite sad that, look, you know me. I don't like going there and saying, you know, this person should be released, this person needs to be released, but I'll be flat out honest with you guys. There are some people I'm looking at that's on the main roster. Hell, even in NXT right now, NXT 2.0, there are some I'm looking at that I know in my heart of hearts, and I don't want to name names because I don't want for, you know, some of these men and women to feel like I'm targeting them, because at the end of the day, it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. But there are men and women that I see and I just go, nah, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Again, I've never called out names. Used to be a time, but I don't do that. I haven't done that in years. But y'all know, I'm going to break that rule tonight. Y'all know, I can't help but look at a guy like Reggie. And I just go, all this guy can do is flip. He's not charismatic. He's not energetic. He's not funny. There's nothing. Just flips. That's all it is, just flips. Yet this guy, I mean, man, did he catch somebody plowing somebody in the back and he's got dirt on them as a result? Or to pull a JTG, is this guy successfully able to just dodge his phone when it freaking rings and they're trying to, right? He's nowhere near a FedEx fax machine to get a firing via FedEx. Like, what the fuck? Reggie, right? I mean, seriously, right here, right now, if you had to pick between Reggie and Drake Maverick, seriously, you know what? That's a damn good question. That's a damn good question. All right, so you know what? those of you live, those of you that's going to be watching this for on demand or listening on the downloads, hit me up all throughout social media. I'm even going to have a poll up. Drake Maverick, Reggie, a.k.a. Flipper. And I'm curious what the results are going to be. I'm very, very curious. Very, very, very curious. I would imagine Maverick would win, like, decisively. I would imagine. But he's going to be all right. Drake Maverick, I'm not concerned about the little guy. He's going to be all right. Look, you can't really feel too sorry for him. I mean, he's got a beautiful, hot-smoking wife, Renee Michelle, who's awesome on social media. She's pretty good at chatting it up with her fans and all that. She's pretty good, but no, he's going to be all right. Trust me, he's going to be just fine. So, not concerned about him. Who is left? What names does that leave for us to talk about here? Let's see. I know there's a couple of other names here. Give me a second here. Shane Thorne. What do I say about Shane Thorne being released? It is what it is. In the case of Shane Thorne, it is what it is. I know he was doing his thing mainly in Pro Wrestling Noah. You know, I kind of saw a little bit of the tail end of his stuff there. I remember TM61. That sadly, for me at least, it didn't really take off the way I thought it was going to be taking off. Oh shit, wasn't he also doing... Yeah. Wasn't he also in Retribution? If I remember right, I could have sworn he was also in Retribution. So, yeah, they gave him some garbage, quite honestly. WWE gave him some straight up garbage during his whole tenure in WWE. So, I would imagine he's going to get back to basics now that he's back out there on the free market. Whether that means he goes back to Pro Wrestling Noah or maybe he does some stuff with New Japan. If you were to tell me tomorrow, hey Lee, he's actually signed with New Japan, I would not be surprised. I think his style is very complimentary of the New Japan style and everything. So I'm not too concerned about him. I think he's going to just do fine. Quite honestly, I think he's going to do just fine. If I were to pick, though, I don't know, man. I'm going for New Japan. Quite honestly. Let's see. So that's him. Let's see. Who's left? We went through 3 members of Hit Row. We went through Jason Riker. We went through Shane Thorne. We went through John Morrison. Let's see. Tegan Nox. But let me check out the other names here. Hang on. So I feel like we're missing some other names here, man. Hang on. Yeah, John Morrison. Yep. John Morrison, Hit Row. Yep. Drake, Shane Thorne. Yep. So okay. So we only got one more name. Unless I'm missing a name, you guys let me know. Verified news, of course. Please verify. But Tegan Nox is the last one on the list here as far as WWE releases. I don't know how to personally feel about that, quite honestly. This is a very perplexing one, and I'm going to explain to you the reason why. And I don't see enough people talking about this particular release. Not that you need to be long-winded with the release, but just stay with me for a second, folks. So we hear this narrative that's running around where WWE is essentially saying, you know, hey, we kind of don't want these people that's in their 30s, and, you know, we want them nice and young, you know, kind of moldable still, very moldable, you know, really be able to break them in and all that. So, I think about Tegan Nox and I go, okay, well, she's 27 years old, right? So I think she just turned 27, not too long ago. Okay, I don't know exactly when her birthday is. I'll pretty much leave that up to you guys. But she had a nice little 2-year stint in NXT. She was tagging there with Shotzi Blackheart. I thought they were exceptionally a great tag team. I thought they complemented the hell out of each other extremely well. They had defeated the women's tag champions Natty and Tamina in several matches. Remember that? In several matches, but somehow they never received a title shot. If there was ever a opportunity to, okay, we need to not only bring up some up-and-comers, but we need to try to establish them at the same time. I mean, you had a great opportunity right here with Tegan Nox and everything, but for whatever respected reason, didn't happen. And then shortly after you do the split in the WWE draft, I mean, think about that. You do the freaking split in the WWE draft. Like, just really stop and think about that. So she's teaming with Shotzi Blackheart down in NXT. I mean, they're just doing their thing, right? Everything is awesome. But then it's like, nah, we're going to go on ahead and we're going to pretty much let this tag team be over and done with. We're going to go in a different direction. And you're kind of like, okay, right? Only to essentially come back and just decide, nah, you know what, we're going to go ahead and split this up and solo, more bang for the buck solo. And yet, now again, all these names, when you look at them, you're going, well, they weren't exactly involved in any major story arcs and all, but, still, you look at somebody like Tegan Nox, you go, okay, cute girl, 27 years old. Okay, check. How is she in the ring? Okay, check. Keep in mind the injury that she had suffered where she was out of action. What was that? Didn't she have like an ACL tear like around 2017? Yeah, she had like a tear in 2017. And then something had happened after that where it was believed maybe she was going to be out of action again for a handful of months and all that. So, I mean, this girl's got grit. That's the whole point that I'm making. She was born November 15th, by the way. So she just celebrated her birthday. So this one I find the most perplexing. I really, really do. I know a lot of people are very high, fans-wise, I'm speaking of, are very high on someone like a Toni Storm. And I've yet to see anybody make a definitive argument to me about why Toni Storm is the shit. Because all I keep seeing and hearing, and I agree, I got eyes, right? I got eyes. I can see with my own eyeballs. Toni Storm's cute. Yeah, she got booty for days. She got thighs. Okay, besides that, what else is she really offering? For me as a wrestling fan, what else is she? I don't really see enough good substance there. Whereas when I look at somebody like Tegan Nox, I go, no, you know what? I can do something right here. I don't quite smell money. I don't quite taste money. I don't think I got money. But I kind of want to play with this and see what happens. I could make the same argument for Toni Storm, but just me personally, I'm gravitating more towards Tegan Nox. That's just me. I find this to be very baffling. Very freaking baffling. Never really got a chance. And this is kind of one of those, you know what? Of all the people of all the people. Then again, you can make the argument 2 years was enough time in NXT, but me personally, for this new 2.0 of NXT, I think she would have been just fine right there. I think she should have just stayed right there, and let's see what happens with her. I'm not concerned about Tegan Nox. Nox will be just fine. We definitely, I don't think we've seen the last of her whatsoever. I mean, look, this girl's been at it since like 2011, 2012 or whatever. So whether it's Impact Wrestling, which she'd be a pretty good addition for as far as their knockouts division goes. Hell, WOW, Women of Wrestling. I could definitely see some stuff with her over there. I can definitely see her returning to Shimmer on a regular basis. I can definitely see that going down as well. She'd be a good pickup doing some stuff for the NWA as well. She would definitely be a good pickup for the NWA. For those of you that's thinking about AEW, yeah, no, I mainly am seeing her as enhancement talent in fucking AEW. And what I mean by that is, for those of you that's thinking maybe she's going to be coming in there and she's going to be doing like a Ruby Soho or no. She is sadly going to be one of those type of cats. You know, you see the trend that's going on in AEW. Like, you got these people that pop up and you're going, wow, they're 12-3. Wow. Holy shit, they're 24-2. And when you go back and you look up the fucking match history, you're going, oh, well, fucking geez, no wonder. They're getting all these wins between Dark and Elevation, right? Yeah, so maybe Tegan Nox will pick up the wins mostly on Dark and Elevation. But as far as the TNT/TBS shows, yeah, I'm mainly seeing her pretty much as enhancement talent, just putting other people over, right? Maybe once in a blue moon gets a W here and there, but nothing really. Yeah, and I think that would just ultimately be a disservice to her. I could see her having more of a putting her stamp down and working with promotions like Shine Shimmer, WOW, NWA's women's division, since that's coming along pretty good. And like I said, Impact Wrestling would be another one where she would definitely be able to shine and everything. I mean, off the break, me personally, if you're Impact Wrestling and you can get a hold of her, I think her and I don't quite agree with Mickie James. I still irks me off that Mickie James had got the Knockouts Championship. I still feel that it should be Deonna Purrazzo right now. But perfect world, it would be Tegan Nox, about maybe 3-4 months of a program chasing after Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Championship. That's just me. That's how I would have pretty much done it. But no, she'd be all right in Impact Wrestling as well. So those are all the releases for now that has come about. So Rampage was on Friday. As many of you guys know, I'm a columnist over there for 401mania.com. I'm always providing live, ongoing coverage for Rampage, and I'm also doing the immediate review of Rampage on the site as well once Rampage is in the books. So Rampage this week, look, I felt it was a so-so episode. It was a so-so episode when it's all said and done. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, this happened and then this happened and then this and then this. Look, you want to get my full thoughts, go read the article over on the 401 Mania site. But the quick results for that match, for that card for Rampage, let me just pull it up for you guys, and I'll give you guys the quick results here. I thought it was a so-so show. Honestly, I thought it was a so-so show. It felt more like it was all about hyping up the Thanksgiving Eve edition of Dynamite and the Black Friday edition of Rampage. That's what it really felt like. And I was expecting it to have more of a big feel to it, since we were coming fresh off of the Full Gear pay-per-view and everything, right? That's what I was really expecting. Darby Allin defeating Billy Gunn. I love the psychology in that early on and throughout, but the finish for me, and I appreciate those that tried to tell me like I didn't know, no, it happened because, right? I appreciate that and everything, but yeah, the finish to that, just bitter taste in my mouth. I didn't particularly, no. Red Velvet, Jade Cargill quarterfinals match for the AEW TBS title tournament. Jade Cargill going over. So ultimately, this is kind of looking as though, and I'm really hoping it does go that route, but it's looking like we're eventually going to see Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose collide, and that should be a damn good matchup. Red Velvet, Jade Cargill, those girls got great chemistry. They have excellent chemistry with one another. And what I saw of them on Friday night, I don't know if it gets any better than that. I don't know. I don't know if that might have been the pinnacle. But I enjoyed what I saw of them last night, just beating the holy crap out of each other. I loved it. I ate that up. The main event match, there was only 3 matches for Rampage this week. Adam Cole, Bobby Fish taking on Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus going over. Nice, solid main event match. Good effort from all participants involved. Really did a phenomenal job the way the match was laid out. Really thought it was a solid job in the way they went about showcasing Jungle Boy, and he meshed up pretty damn well with Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. I gotta tell you, loved it. Good shit right there. I saw a question that was asked earlier in the chat in regards to Red Dragon. Something about Red Dragon, Young Bucks. Let me think. So we got Bobby Fish in there. So Kylie O'Reilly, right? So I guess the question now becomes, well, what exactly is going on with Kylie O'Reilly? Because when you think Red Dragon, you automatically are going Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. So, I really hate to go into that whole speculation stuff as far as Kyle O'Reilly goes, because last I checked, this guy is still with WWE unless otherwise. So we all have no idea what's going on with his current WWE contract. Some people like to put shit out there just to be stirring the pot, causing up rumors and all of that. We got to deal with the facts for all it's worth. And the facts for all it's worth, the last time we saw him on television, you pretty much got to go back to the November 16th episode of NXT 2.0, where he teamed up with Von Wagner. So before that, there was a dark match he did on Friday Night SmackDown, where I think he took on Johnny Gargano in a dark match. Then before that, he was on the November 2nd episode of NXT 2.0. So I mean, he's been doing stuff on NXT here and there, but it's felt like it's been a little bit sporadic. And the fact that he was involved in a dark match on Friday Night SmackDown, I can't help but personally wonder if he's going to be having a couple of more dark matches on SmackDown, and if ultimately the trigger may be pulled on him to, I don't know, do SmackDown full-time or the main roster. Honestly, if you really want him to thrive, put the young man on SmackDown and let's see what happens with him. But that's a I don't know. I mean, we could be here all night, honestly, and we could be doing nice little dream matchups, stuff we think would be kind of cool in the AEW realm and all that. But, your guess is as good as mine. Much like with Kevin Owens, right? That's the other thing that's got a lot of people, what exactly is going on with KO? Is Kevin Owens AEW bound? Like, nobody knows. We pretty much just got to deal with it as the news comes along, SmackDown for this week, I did see the matches for SmackDown. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. The matches were as followed. I actually have the match card here. Hang on a second here. Sheamus defeated Cesaro, Ricochet, and Jinder Mahal. Oh, there's a fatal four-way there. Natalya and Shayna Baszler teamed up to defeat the team of Naomi and Aaliyah. Jeff Hardy defeated Madcap Moss. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Angel Garza. You can tell me his new name is now Angel all you want. I'm calling him Angel Garza. Sasha Banks defeated Shotzi Blackheart. Those were your matches for SmackDown for this week. Now, it looks like SmackDown early numbers are in. I'm not seeing anything for Rampage just yet. If somebody wants to maybe poke their head, see if the latest Rampage numbers are out, that's cool. And then we could definitely go into it on the show. But last I checked, I didn't see anything. That was probably like about maybe right before we went live. I didn't see anything for Rampage numbers. That might have changed since then, but I doubt it. This late at night. Kind of late, but you get the point I'm making. Yeah, SmackDown early numbers are in. It looks like right now the Go Home edition for Survivor Series did about a 1.988 million viewers. This is based off of the 2.92 million viewers for hour one, and then they averaged out 1.883 million viewers for the second hour. So as far as that 18 to 49 demo, they averaged a 0.5 rating in that demo. They didn't do too bad. It was third in the ratings, right behind ABC's 2020, which drew number one, and it had a 1.0 rating, and Shark Tank, which did a 0.6. So not too shabby. So worst case scenario, we'll definitely get into Rampage numbers on probably Monday's show, most likely at this point. Look, what did I tell you about the whole Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair stuff? I told you guys it was going to be, there's going to be a lot more. I told you guys there was going to be a lot more. I don't have too much to say about this. Look, I know by now everybody and their mama, the whole Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, she said this, she said that. I definitely thought the interview that Charlotte Flair had gave, what was it, to BT Sports, I thought that was an exceptionally good interview. Y'all did not check it out, go out of your way, check it out. It was good shit. But, for me, just looking at this whole Charlotte Becky Lynch thing, and now we got Ric Flair thrown into the mix. I just find the timing of it so peculiar because we got these two girls going at it. Survivor Series, most important of the 4 pay-per-views from WWE. I just find everything to be just a little bit too convenient, what all is going on. The Ric Flair stuff, that's got me having a serious, that's giving me serious eyebrow raising as far as the Ric Flair stuff, because Ric Flair and the online back and forth between him, Becky Lynch, WWE. Look, I love how Becky Lynch is pretty much trying to be the bigger person, while at the same time she pretty much threw shade at Ric Flair and everything. Okay, he sold the man trademark or whatever to WWE. That's like having buyer's remorse, right? Like that would be like somebody asking you if you could loan them $1,000. And you ask them what's the money for, and they tell you, and you're like, okay, that's a pretty worthy cause. Yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and loan you the $1,000. And then maybe the two of you have some type of a fallout or whatever, and that person decides they want to throw shade at you or whatever, and then in retaliation you decide, I want my $1,000 back. And it's like, because maybe you told them, no, it's a gift, keep the money. When you're successful, just remember me, right? Maybe you told them some bullshit line like that, right? This is how that whole Ric Flair and the whole man trademark thing and taking his shots at Becky Lynch, that's how it just kind of comes off to me. That's my whole thing in a nutshell. Do I believe that there is legit some animosity between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch? Do I truly believe that they aren't quite? Yeah, I do. I know that whole championship belt thing presentation from some weeks back. Honestly, I thought that was so lame. Like, I remember saying, I like the idea of them just trading off titles, but I wasn't picturing a whole presentation in the ring. I wasn't picturing that. I was picturing something, if anything, maybe you could have pre-taped some stuff with the girls at WWE headquarters, and right, maybe they do some stuff like that where they're relinquishing the titles and at the same time they're being presented with their respected title on the respected brand that they're supposed to be on. Like, I could see something like that, but Becky Lynch, I truly believe what Becky Lynch was putting out there as far as, hey, the way this segment was supposed to go down, it was supposed to be set up in this fashion. And we kind of had an idea what Charlotte Flair was going to try to do, and, and it ended up the way that it ended up, right? I do believe that there's actual friction that's there, but not to the point where one is going to try to deliberately hurt the other person. No, at the end of the day, whatever's going on, let's go in here, let's make this money, let's entertain these fans, and then afterwards, fuck you, right? I do believe they're going to be more than professional enough to do what they need to do Survivor Series Sunday. But all things considered, I just find everything to be a little bit too convenient. Ric Flair jumping out there saying, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. I can still go out there. I can still hang. Okay. Ric Flair. And look at the timing of Ric Flair. He finally got his podcast out there and all the stuff that he's now putting out there saying, right? I look at some of that stuff that he's putting out there. By the way, I put a comment out there on Twitter, and some people were under the impression that I guess the new word is triggered. Thought I was triggered by when it's kind of like, dude, read the room. Read the room, right? You're spending so much time retweeting that the one time you do respond to something, I get it. You want to feel as though, hey, this person is attacking my favorite wrestler. No. I said something in regards to Ric Flair sharing a post on Twitter. I'm going to read to you exactly what Ric Flair had put out there. And this mainly had to do with the whole him and his beef supposedly with WWE, because apparently he is asking for his championships to be returned to him. Here's what he said. Speaking of legacies, WWE has decided to erase mine. That's all good. Now, look, of course, what we're talking about when the WWE intro package, right? You go, woo, right? They removed that. But let's take it a step further. Car Shield decided, we're not going to be airing these Ric Flair commercials anymore. Everything stems from that episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Now, look, I can definitely see within reason where Ric Flair is coming from, because this is where self-accountability comes into play. It comes into play from this standpoint. WWE and all necessary powers that be, they've pretty much enabled this behavior in Ric Flair for so long that when something like what went down with Dark Side of the Ring and you got WWE, oh yeah, that's just, no, they're just following suit. They're just following the trend to look good, to make themselves look good. What was all high fives and, oh man, you crazy, all this wild shit. Oh, go ahead, man, you funny as shit. Well, it started off as all of that. Right now, when it comes time for the disciplinary, oh, that's just so wrong. It's like, no, you were endorsing it. It'd be no different than the whole Aaron Rodgers vaccination bullshit. And the NFL is now going, oh, we're gonna fine Aaron Rodgers. We're gonna. It's like, but you already knew this. Don't act like you're a babe in the woods. You already knew what was going on beforehand. That's how I kind of look at this shit with WWE. So I'm reading more in between the lines of what Ric Flair is saying right there. Okay. All right, cool. Whatever. However, these two belts, he's referring to the WWF championship that he had won. Y'all remember that. And of course, he's also referring to the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. However, these two belts are my legacy and I'd like them returned. I've asked twice, apparently falling on deaf ears. I'm assuming that next week on Flair Uncensored, his podcast, I'll have to explain in detail. Woo, right? Okay, great. Put your explanation out there. That's all fine and dandy. But I'm like this. Oh, and by the way, here's what I said in regards to Ric Flair. That had some people triggered. Sad, a man in his 70s can't come to grips with his career being over and move on with his life. Here we are in 2021 and he's still making it be about him. But wait, you did a 20-minute promo on an NWA pay-per-view thanking Vince and WWE for all the jams they got you out of. Now this? Salty. Yeah. That's just where I'm coming from. Now, look, this title thing, I am a little bit curious. What's going on with this, because the way I kind of always understood the whole title thing, I remember at one point, Ric Flair was really hurting for money. And there was a Hall of Fame ring that he sold, and I forgot which WWE superstar it was or WWE employee it was, but somehow the ring ended up being purchased and given back to Ric Flair. The titles, I used to remember the story about one of the titles. It's been so many years now. I'm hoping that by the time we do the Monday show, if Ric Flair hasn't put out his podcast explaining the situation by then, I'll have the information, because I remember talking about this years ago. There was something that had went down, and I kind of, if you were to pick my brain right now, I kind of want to say it had something to do with basically Ric Flair loaning one of the belts. I wish I could remember which belt it was definitively, but one of those belts, I remember something along the lines of Ric Flair basically, if I remember right, he needed some money for something, and he didn't want to just, hey, I need some money. So him and Vince McMahon had pretty much made an arrangement where, okay, we'll use this as collateral, do what you got to do, and just, once you've done what you needed to do, you pay me back, yada, 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 you'll get the title back. I believe that's how I remember. But again, we're talking many, many, many fucking years ago. So for all I know, I might be remembering it right, but it could have also changed dramatically since then. Maybe some other arrangements were made or whatnot. But, for a company that has done more than bend over backwards for you over the years. I mean, to each its own. To each its own. But for me, this just feels like shit that honestly, you know, you got beef with somebody, just handle that shit in private. Why are we airing everything out on social media? I don't get this new. Anyway, that it is what it is. Let's get into Survivor Series, and then we'll go on ahead. We'll stick a fork in it. We'll call this show DONE done. A lot of stuff that we had got into tonight here. How we doing on Showtime, by the way? See how we doing on Showtime here. All right, so not too bad. Not too bad. So when it's all said and done, we'll probably do like about 2 hours and maybe almost 30 minutes of a show. So, because we're already at the 2 hour, 11-minute marker now. So apparently there's going to be a 25-man battle royale. It's a dual branded battle royale. By the way, officially, welcome. Survivor Series predictions. We're starting it now. 25-man dual branded battle royale. Oh, do I get to see my participants? Looks like I do. My participants are AJ Styles, Angel Garza, Angelo Dawkins, Apollo Crews, Cedric Alexander, Cesaro, Chad Gable, Commander Aziz, Dolph Ziggler, Drew Gulak, Eric, Humberto Carrillo, Ivar, Jinder Mahal, Mansoor, Montez Ford, Omos, Otis, R-Truth, Ricochet, Sami Zayn, Shanky, Shelton Benjamin, T-Bar. So how many names is that right there? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Am I reading that right? Looks like we got 24 names. Hang on, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. No, it's 25. Okay. Well, I'm definitely predicting that Omos is going to have a really good, strong showing. I wouldn't be surprised if he had set the record for most eliminations. I could definitely see it being a case where maybe it's down to the final 4 and he's involved in that. But I could see him ultimately getting eliminated. You know what name screams out to me that should win this? It's between AJ Styles, Cesaro, T-Bar, actually. I'm actually going with a wild card. I can see the final 4 being AJ Styles, Omos, T-Bar. Who was the other name I just mentioned? Omos, AJ Styles, T-Bar. I did have... Damn, I just forgot the other name there. Hang on here, guys. AJ, Omos, T-Bar. And I'm looking at Final 4 again. I'm thinking about Final 4. What the hell? Montez Ford. I can see AJ, Omos, T-Bar, Montez Ford being your Final 4. But as far as who would win the whole thing, I'm kind of liking... It's between AJ and T-Bar. Too close for me to call. AJ and T-Bar. I wouldn't mind if I had to pick. If you guys were to force me, I got to go with AJ. Damian Priest defending... No. Just a champion versus champion match. Damian Priest, United States champion, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, Intercontinental champion. Champion versus champion. I'm pretty high on Damian Priest right now. I'm going with Damian. RK Bro, Randy Orton, Riddle, Raw Tag Champions going up against Jay and Jimmy Uso. SmackDown Tag Champions, Champions versus Champions tag match. Too close to call for me. Really, really too close to call for me. Well, let me keep this in mind. So since I just said what I said for the previous match, that's a Raw win. So actually, let me get that down, by the way. So we got Raw and SmackDown. All right, so that's a Raw win. RK Bro and the Usos. I'm going to go with RK Bro. Big E, WWE Champion versus Roman Reigns, Universal Champion, Champion versus Champion match. Too close to call right here. You know, you would think that with Survivor Series, is it possible that we might get an appearance from Brock Lesnar? Can't help but wonder that. Have that going on in the back of your minds there. Because if Brock were to show up, me personally, I would love to see him lay out both guys and the match is just pretty much thrown out. It's fucking DQ, right? Or no contest, whatever the hell you want to. I mean, that would be, that's me personally. But if you weren't going to go with the Brock Lesnar effect and somebody had to come out of this, I'm going with Roman Reigns. I've been with the tribal chief this long. I'm not going to start picking against him now. So either some fuckery and it's a no contest essentially. Match is just pretty much thrown out. Roman Reigns. If I had to pick, I'm going with Roman Reigns. Becky Lynch, Raw Women's Champion versus Charlotte, SmackDown Women's Champion. Champion versus Champion match. I'm going with Charlotte Flair. I really love the stuff that's been happening these past couple of weeks. I'm also loving the round of media interviews that's being conducted with her and just how all that's been going down. So I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair. So right now, I've got things tied up 2 apiece for the Raw and SmackDown brand. Team Raw, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Queen Zelina taking on Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, Natalya, Toni Storm. All right, so there's a 2-part question that's in here. And we're going to answer this question together. SmackDown on the women's side of things, we got things still kind of taking form. And what I mean by that is we got a Toni Storm that appears to be resurfacing, and okay, that's great. We got her involved in this, and we saw her get in the face of Charlotte Flair looking to challenge her for the championship. Charlotte scoffed and just pretty much walked on by. Walk on by. Doom, 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 doom. Right? So, on the one hand, you're looking at things from the Team SmackDown standpoint. You're going, you know what would be kind of badass is, and we just had Toni Storm resurface. You know, if you wanted to make anybody look pretty strong, Toni Storm, maybe have her be the one to decisively pick up the win when it counts the most. Let her be clutch in that 4th quarter. Let her be the one responsible for picking up the victory for Team SmackDown. But then when I go over to Team Raw, the one name that really jumps out at me is Liv Morgan, because you think about how she's been pretty much chasing after Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, got my B's mixed up. Becky Lynch for the championship. So I think this could very well come down to Liv Morgan and Toni Storm. I mean, makes a lot of sense, quite honestly. You just following the respected story arcs and everything. I think it should come down to Liv Morgan and Toni Storm personally. Now, who comes out of that? Again, that is a very, very interesting position. Very interesting position. Give the fans that good feel moment. Let them celebrate with Liv Morgan as far as I'm concerned. I gotta go with Team Raw. I'm gonna go with Team Raw on that one. So I got Liv Morgan pretty much winning it for her team. So hopefully the way they book this match, though, hopefully it comes down to pretty much Toni Storm and Liv Morgan going at it. And then Team Raw for the men's side, 5-on-5 elimination match. Team Raw, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, taking on Team SmackDown's Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and Sheamus. And right now it's 3-2 Raw's way. Let's see here. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm stumped. No bullshit. I am stumped on this one. I am stumped on this one. Other than Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy. I like Jeff Hardy. I'm not that. No, you know what? You know what, guys? You know what, guys? All right, think about this. Think about this. One working scenario you could have play into this, you could have this whole Team Raw experiment blow up in Adam Pearce's face. If I'm doing things behind the scenes with the story arc, this shit comes back to bite Adam Pearce in the face, because you think about the fact that, okay, he did have the Mysterios in there, but those guys pretty much got pulled for Austin Theory and Lashley, essentially, right? You think about that. So how about a really cool story arc where, nah, that shit's going to end up blowing up in your face. You made a bad decision. Yo, if you would have just had the Mysterios in there, now there's no telling what would have happened, what could have happened. And essentially you're adding more fuel to the fire as a result of that narrative that you're spinning. And you already have that built-in hostility going on there between Adam Pearce and the Mysterios. And I'm doubling down once again. I said some weeks back, yo, what's going on here with this Adam Pearce Mysterio? Is it possible we might be seeing them lock up in a match at Mania or something? Because it feels as though we're ultimately going to see these guys collide in the ring, maybe, right? I kind of feel as though Austin Theory is in here to eat a submission or a pin. I feel as though he is going to be the scapegoat. You feel me? I feel he's going to be the one that, I'm not going to say per se, he's going to be the one responsible for Team SmackDown winning. But I'm just looking at these other names and I'm just trying to figure out, okay. Yeah. I'm really liking that idea more and more and more. As far as how this is probably going to go down, like who's going to be there at the end, I could definitely see Austin Theory having a pretty good showing. Yeah, I somehow got Austin Theory. I somehow got Austin Theory off to a really good start and everything. If you really want to build this young brother up properly, I see him having some good little spots, maybe getting an elimination or two. I don't know about 3, but definitely getting an elimination or 2. That'd be kind of cool if you had it come down to Austin Theory. Oh, wow. Dudes, that'd be badass if you had it come down to Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, I don't know about Rollins. I kind of got an asterisk by him. But it'd be kind of interesting if it came down to 2 or maybe 3 participants on the Team Raw side, and King Woods was pretty much the last guy standing or something along those lines. Or maybe if it was down to King Woods and Drew McIntyre. But that would be, you feel where I'm coming from? That would be kind of a interesting little thing going on there. But I'm actually going to go with Team SmackDown. For the win. I like that built-in storyline that I talked about earlier there. So you want to magnify that if anything. So I've got this being tied. Now I can't help but wonder if that 25-man battle royale, let me look at these names here. I'm seeing Raw and SmackDown names. So I wonder if that's going to count. Because if that's not part of the pre-show, if that's part of the actual pay-per-view, then that's pretty much your tiebreaker right there. Or by the time you get into the main event, that's pretty much going to be, okay, who's going to win? And who did we mention earlier for that 25-man battle royal? I think I said something along the lines of, I would like to see it come down to AJ, Omos, T-Bar, Montez Ford. And basically, I'm really liking the idea of AJ Styles or T-Bar. If I had to pick, I'm going with, I said AJ, didn't I? So essentially, Team Raw would win. Keeping that in mind. I can see it being a tie, though, yeah. It just depends where that match is going to be. That's the thing. I don't know exactly, but I can definitely see a tie at some point, and then we're going into this, and it's pretty much a tiebreaker. You feel me? All right, so one more time. 25-man battle royale. For me, it's between AJ Styles, T-Bar. I'm going with AJ. And for those of you that's like, why T-Bar? I like that T-Bar is finally starting to get back into that Dijakovic NXT persona, right? Ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know. Well, everything we've been seeing in the news as of late with these releases, though, I just don't know if you feel me. So that's why I'm kind of going with a safer name as far as AJ. Damian Priest defeating Nakamura. RK Bro defeating Usos. Roman Reigns defeating Big E. Charlotte Flair defeating Becky Lynch. Team Raw for the women defeating Team SmackDown. And I'm going with Team SmackDown defeating Team Raw for the 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series elimination matchup. So that's how I'm looking at it. Give me your Survivor Series predictions, and if you are much more closer or accurate, bullseye accurate, I'll definitely give you a shout out on the show for sure. As far as surprises goes, like, I know we like to, I wonder where's the Brock Lesnar's. I wonder if Brock will maybe make some type of an appearance. I wonder if something weird may go down in that 5-on-5 men's match where somebody's taking out, maybe something goes down during the pre-show, somebody is taking out, and that pretty much leaves a slot open. I wonder if that creates a position where maybe Brock is in there, or maybe John Cena is potentially in there. I can't help but wonder what surprises, big surprises, if any, are gonna be in store. So I see DE6. He said something like Roman Reigns versus Otis 1-on-1 and Roman Reigns versus Ivar 1-on-1, and is an anticipating match. I mean, that is maybe for you. I gotta be honest, I've never heard anybody say that on social media. So maybe that's just your thing that you would like to see. I'm not knocking it, but maybe that's just something you personally would love to see, right? So cool for you if so. Cool for you if so. But that ain't my list, though. I'm sure that ain't my list. That ain't other people's list. All right, some quick programming notes. Going to be live with you guys Sunday night, November 21st, 2021. We'll be covering Survivor Series. We'll be live with a special post show, so tune in for that. That should be a solid show. And then Monday night of November 22nd, we'll be live after WWE Raw goes off the air. Right back here, so tune in for that. Should be a fun show. Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed for on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, I'm actually going to be coming back in a couple of hours. I'll actually be live, and I'm going to be reviewing the new Robert Plant, Alison, Krauss album, Raising the Roof. So if you're around, you're a fan of Robert Plant, you're a fan of Alison, you're a fan of folk music, folk blues, country, a little bit of country rock, come on by. I'll be talking about that album for probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes at most. You guys made it up to this point. Thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. When you do that, you really help put more eyeballs on our content, definitely on our channel. So make sure you do that, as it helps out a great ton. Thank you guys so much. And hit that subscribe button so y'all don't miss out on future content that comes your way. Let me see real quick before we roll out. I had got a baby earlier, and that was somebody subscribing. Now, I got to tell you guys, sometimes that information won't appear on the screen because maybe that person has their settings in a way where they don't want their name to be displayed, as far as, hey, I subscribe to this, right? Some people just like to be on the low. They like to be chilling and all that. But let me see if I can actually give them a shout out before we roll out here, because I did say earlier. Hang on. Let's see if we can pull them up here. I got it loading up right now. I'm just trying to make sure we show them some love before we roll out. Yeah. So we did get a subscription. We did get a new sub, but it looks like they did not make their subscription public. So far as I know, we're not going to be able to give them a proper thank you. But to that person that had subbed, thank you. We appreciate that, because I know it was a sub, because that's how I got the sound effects set up. When you hear that, baby, that's usually a sub notification. Because if I refresh one of the subs, let me see here. If I refresh one of the subs, this should have gone up. Let me look here. I'll let you guys real quick. Hang on. Yeah, looks like that was a sub, unless it was a super chat. Hang on. Yeah, I'm not seeing a super chat. So, far as I know, it was a sub. All right, that's it. I am out of here. On that note, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe, and most importantly, be kind to one another. Thank you all so much for checking out this episode. And for those of you that's going to be circling on back for the Robert Plant, Alison Krauss review, I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Everybody else, I'll catch you for Sunday's Survivor Series post show. Peace, y'all. Take care.